Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright. And have you noticed that throughout the history of pro wrestling, it's not necessarily just a WWE thing, like WCW's done it before, and I'm sure like some other wrestling promotions have done as well, that there have been some very odd locations that have hosted some pro wrestling events throughout the years. I mean, yeah, of course, like usually, of course, like the wrestling events are just held in traditional arenas, but yeah, there have been like quite the number of times in wrestling history, like where whether it's WWF or WWE or WCW or some any other wrestling promotion that they've like had quite the number of events that haven't like been held in arenas. They've like taken some of the wrestling shows and have held them in some very strange places to host pro wrestling events. And I was even watching like the old an old video of like that old five things a segment that the WWE had on their YouTube channel years ago. And yeah, it was about like the like five just weird locations for wrestling events. And after looking into that, watching that video, and I like even like looked into like some strange venues for wrestling events over the years, yeah, it really did inspire me to kind of like make my own list. So yeah, as you can see by the title of the video, what this video is going to be is I'm going to be counting down what I think the top 10 strangest wrestling venues there have been over the years in like pro wrestling. Yeah, yeah, because yeah, there've just like been some very very strange locations for wrestling events over the years. Like they've had like there's been like the empty arena, like when like The Rock and Mankind like had their match for the WWF title in Halftime Heat in 1999, and yeah, there's just been like there's been just like a whole bunch of like wrestling events that have just been like taking place in just very bizarre places, or that have just been like held in some like very odd conditions. So yeah, and this list, like, I'm not going to be talking about like events that have been like held because there's like certain events have been canceled. Like there was like the Raw after the Royal Rumble in 2015 that like was held in the world headquarters due to like the due to like a blizzard like canceling the scheduled draw due to the blizzard conditions. And yeah, there was also of course like when Raw was canceled for the death of Chris Benoit, and just that yeah, there wasn't like an actual. It was just the Chris Benoit tribute show. So yeah, the whole arena was empty during that scheduled Raw event. So yeah, I'm not going to be talking about canceled WWE events like that have like been changed to like other things. Like I'm not going to be including those. These are going to be like actual like wrestling events that actually did occur, and like they weren't canceled. Like these are actually shows that did take place and were held in just very very bizarre locations. So yeah, so this list is really just gonna be like sticking to like WCW and WWE because yeah, those are the ones I really have remembered that have had like quite a lot of events held in very strange locations. So yeah, and over the years, like I'm not really as familiar with like other wrestling promotions like ECW, the original ECW, TNA, and a lot of the other wrestling promotions like indie wrestling promotions. So now for all of you people that like do are familiar more familiar with like those wrestling companies, and if those events have held any odd well, have had any events held in like some very strange locations, yeah, you can like comment on my channel and like comment some like strange locations that those promotions have had for any wrestling events that have been held in like bizarre locations. Yeah, but here it's really going to be sticking to WWF or WWE and WCW. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, this is just going to be like a list of my picks for what I think the top 10 strangest wrestling venues have been over the years. All right. So yeah, let me just get started. All right. At number 10 is the first episode of WCW Nitro. And yeah, as I'm sure all you know, this uh, this episode emanated from the Mall of America. So, yeah, I mean, a wrestling event taking place inside of a mall. I mean, yeah, it's like a very big mall, of course. Like the Mall of America is like one of the largest malls in the world. So yeah, I guess it would kind of make sense like why they would like have a wrestling event be in here because I mean the Mall of America like does like have some like parks inside of it. Like it has like an aquarium and an amusement park and stuff like that. So I guess they felt that it would be a good place to put a wrestling show in. So yeah, and yeah, this was just like very very odd because yeah, I just like watched the show recently, and yeah, it just looks really weird, like seeing a wrestling event taking place inside of a mall, and the mall was even still open. Like during the show, like you could see like people going up and down the escalators inside of the mall. So yeah, I mean, was this actually an event that people were actually paying money for tickets or something? Was this something where people could just like show up to the mall and help themselves and just watch it? I mean, yeah, I mean, just were the regular mall shoppers just like shopping and just like walking by and watching it, like with the people on the escalators and on the escalators in the mall, were they just like watching it as they were going up and down escalators? I mean, yeah, this was just like very strange. And plus, yeah, with this being inside of a mall, like where were all the wrestlers even being like getting ready and stuff? Like, was there actually a locker room area inside of the mall? I mean, yeah, this was just like very very strange. Like, where were the wrestlers even going? Like, Max what, what was the backstage area for this wrestling event? I mean, because this was inside of a mall. Like, where were they even going to like get dressed or like get off of the staging or yeah, get off, away from the ring area and stuff when it wasn't their time on here? So yeah, I'm just like wondering like how were they even able to pull this off? So yeah, it just was just like really really strange just to see like a wrestling event taking place inside of a mall like that. So yeah, and especially like with this show also being like when Lex Luger like did return to WCW, like how were they able to like keep it like a secret? Because I remember like on the Monday Night War series, they were like trying to like keep Lex Luger under wraps and like have like nobody actually know that he was actually there until he actually did like walk towards the ring during the Ric Flair and Sting match. So yeah, it's just like strange. Like how were they able to pull this off? Like where was the locker room? Like was this actually like something like in a where tickets were sold like yeah, it's just like a really confusing thing like how they were able to like set this whole thing up. So yeah, it's just like really strange. And yeah, just seeing like a wrestling event take place in a mall, it was just like really really bizarre to see. I mean, yeah, I think yeah, I don't know if like maybe one day WWE will actually like have an event like take place from the Mall of America also. I think like I was saying, since it's like so huge, I felt that well, they probably felt that it would work out for a wrestling event because yeah, the Mall of America is just like so massive. Like if you like measure out like the square feet of the mall, it's actually bigger than a lot of football stadiums. So yeah, it is like a huge place. So yeah, but yeah, just seeing a wrestling event take place in a mall like that, it's just like really really bizarre and just like really like puzzles me how they were able to set it up. So yeah, okay, but yeah, it was just a very very strange place for a wrestling show to say the least. So yeah, at number 10 is the first episode of the WCW Nitro from the Mall of America. Yeah. All right. At number 9 is the Showdown at Shea event the WWF had in 1980 that, of course, emanated from Shea Stadium. So, yeah, I talked about this event like just this past January when I was talking about my live experience thoughts at the Royal Rumble this past year. Yeah, I've already like talked about this before, like how like just strange it was back then because yeah, like nowadays today, like when WWE like has events like in baseball stadiums, they like cover up like the entire baseball field and stuff and just make it like seem more like a wrestling arena. But yeah, I talked about it before here, like back then, like they didn't do any of that. Like it was still like the full baseball field was just like totally uncovered. So yeah, yeah, you were just like seeing like a wrestling ring just in a baseball stadium uncovered. So yeah, just seeing it like that just was really really weird. Like this show had like matches like Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant as well as like Bruno Sammartino facing a Larry Zbyszko in a cage. Yeah, and I'm not like sure like was this was Shea Stadium like entirely like filled up with people? Was there just like a certain area in the crowd how out or in the seats that like people could occupy? Like I'm just yeah, it's just like really strange. Like how were they able to do this, and were they actually able to fill up the entire arena? So yeah, it's just like really strange, and yeah, it's just like weird seeing like a wrestling event like take place on like a totally uncovered baseball field. Yeah, and I remember also like in 1987, the NWA had the Great American Bash event, and that year they had like one of their Great American Bash events that year take place at the Orange Bowl in Miami, and also like there, like the field was uncovered too. But yeah, it looked like more bizarre with the Shea Stadium event the WWF had, because I mean you just like saw the wrestlers was actually like walking down the field to the ring. Yeah, I'm not sure actually where the ring was actually positioned on the field, but yeah, you had like the wrestlers just like walking down through the field to the ring. So yeah, and it just seems really weird just seeing like a wrestling event pretty much taking place like right on a baseball field. So yeah, just seeing that is just really weird, and especially like seeing it today with what the WWE does with their events in baseball fields now. It just looks just really weird seeing it just with the uncovered baseball field. So yeah, all right. So yeah, number 9 is the Showdown at Shea event from 1980 at Shea Stadium. All right. At number 8 is the WCW Nitro Spring Breakout episodes that they had. So they started these in 1997, and they took place at Panama City Beach, Florida. And yeah, they like usually had them like in places like a Club La Velle and stuff. Yeah, just like at like resorts and stuff. And yeah, it's just like really weird. Like they had pools and stuff. These events, yeah, they were just like trying. I guess they were just trying to make it look like a very spring break style events and stuff, and including like on the last episode of WCW Nitro, where it was also one of these spring breakout events, and they had them take like the last episode of Nitro took place at Boardwalk Beach Resort, which looked especially odd. I mean, yeah, just like seeing all this stuff just take place right by the ocean, yeah, and even like Finn said himself, like in the simulcast, that's how appropriate is it that WCW's final broadcast is in a beer hall. So yeah, just seeing them take place in like resorts like this, it was just like really strange, and just especially like since they're right by the bay or the ocean, yeah, it's just like really it was just really bizarre just to see them like that. I mean, yeah, even like you had like in the spring breakout events at Club La Velle, you had like pools there and just a whole bunch of stuff just like making WCW fit right in with like the spring breakout style. So yeah, just seeing like events like this, it's just like really strange just to see it with like pools and stuff. So yeah, not really too much to say about it. Just yeah, see, it just looks seems really silly to see there be wrestling events taking place in like places like that. So yeah, all right. So number 8 is the spring breakout episodes of WCW Nitro. All right. At number 7 are is the tribute to the troops events that the WWE has. So I'm not really saying like all of them, but yeah, a lot of like the earlier ones when like the WWE would actually like travel to like Baghdad and Afghanistan and stuff. Like when they actually like had them take place at like Air Force bases and stuff. Oh, that just seemed it just looked really odd because yeah, these shows were taking place like in broad daylight, and like wrestling shows in particular, like that take place in daylight, they just never really look very good. And yeah, these events were really no exception. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that the WWE shouldn't have really gone to do these because I mean they were doing a good thing going to tribute or going to perform for all the U.S. troops at war. So yeah, it's not really a bad thing that WWE did this, but just seeing these shows like take place out in broad daylight, it just seemed really weird, and just yeah, it didn't really look particularly good. Yeah, like I said, they were just like traveling through to a bunch of different Air Force bases throughout these early tribute to the troop shows. They went to like Camp Victory and Camp Beecher and the Air Base, and yeah, just a bunch of like different locations in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff. Yeah, and And yeah, it wasn't until like 2010 that when WWE would like actually go to like normal arenas to perform these tribute to the troop shows at. So yeah, but yeah, just like these earlier ones, just like seeing them take place in broad daylight at air, just like the Air Force bases and stuff, or like just a military bases, I guess I should say. Yeah, it just looked real weird. And plus, that must have been like, kind of uncomfortable for the WWE performers to do, like when the troops are like go at war with, when they're in war and stuff, and actually like going there to perform. That might have actually felt pretty uncomfortable to do, but I guess it worked out just fine with entertaining the troops. I mean, doing a good thing. So I guess like the events really didn't turn out that, but just like seeing them like take place like in daylight, especially like in the conditions when they're at war, it just must have been like pretty uncomfortable. And like I said, just shows out in broad daylight, they just don't ever really look particularly good. And I'm gonna have like couple of other events on this list that were events that did take place in broad daylight as well. But these just these in particular, just these tribute to the troop shows in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff. They just like seem really uncomfortable to do regarding the conditions. And just in broad daylight, just they don't look good. So all right. But anyway, so number 7 is the tribute to the troops events. Well, the earlier ones up until 2010. So all right. At number 6 is a live event that the WWF had in 1985 in San Juan, Puerto Rico. This event took place at Hiram Bithorn Stadium. Yeah, and you might be asking like, what was so strange about this one? Well, the reason that this one was so strange is because during this event, it was actually pouring down rain, and the show was still continuing. I mean, this is something that you don't really necessarily see all the time. I mean, a wrestling event taking place as it's pouring down rain. I mean, this event like had matches with like Hulk Hogan versus Big John Studd, as well as Randy Savage versus Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Championship, and I'm not sure exactly like when like this match actually, well, when the Hogan on Big John Studd match actually did go on in the show. Like I haven't actually seen this full show. I've just seen like matches from it. But during the Hulk Hogan Big John Studd match is when it did start to rain. And and even like the conditions were like very very slippery inside of the ring. Like when it's raining, like you can actually like the wrestlers are just like constantly slipping and stuff. So not necessarily the best conditions to have a wrestling show go on with. And I'm actually surprised that this show still like continued as it was continuing to rain. Like I just feel like due to this, I think like wrestling promotion should be like really careful about when it comes to having events take place in like outdoor or stadiums and stuff. Because I remember like watching an old video from somebody that attended WrestleMania 29 that was in a MetLife Stadium, and they were saying like before the show had actually started, it was like starting to rain, and then of course like MetLife Stadium, there's no roof, so if it did actually like rain, like there probably could have been problems. But luckily like it didn't rain that long. Like it stopped very shortly after it started. So but due to that and like what happened here, I really think that like WWE in particular should really be careful about like having events like take place in outside arenas, because you never know like if it could rain. I mean, it could like be, you could actually have the events like scheduled like long before long before the event, so you don't really know like what the weather would be, and if it actually is like expected to rain, then that could like lead to some problems. So and here in particular, it just was like really really odd. Just like the rest of the show was still going on as it was continuing to rain, and it was pouring down. It's not like it was just like small little sprinkles or anything. Like it was actually pouring down rain. I'll put the Hulk Hogan Big John Studd match from this event down in the description. You can watch it for yourself, and it does start to rain during this match, and you can just see like how like much like the rain is pouring down and how slippery the conditions are. So and I think this is the only time in history that it actually has like rained during a wrestling show. I don't know if like it has happened again, and just the show's been called due to rain. I really don't know. But yeah, just seeing an event as it's pouring down rain, it's just very, very bizarre. So yeah, and like I said, you can check out the Hulk Hogan Big John Studd match from this event down in the description. And yeah, you can just see for yourself how it looks with it pouring down rain. So yeah, all right. So number 6 is that San Juan, Puerto Rico event from 1985. So yeah, at number 5 is WrestleMania 9, which took place at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. So, yeah, I have already talked about WrestleMania 9, so I really don't think I have to go over this very much. But yeah, WrestleMania 9 and Caesar's Palace with the Roman theme and sunny daylight. Yeah, I mean, I just talked about how, like, events that are held in broad daylight don't really look very good. And yeah, this one especially really didn't look good. I mean, just the setup of WrestleMania 9, how it looks just outdoors and sunny daylight, it just looked really, really awful. And yeah, plus the Roman theme just made it even dumber. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't really think I really need to go into this very much. But yeah, WrestleMania 9, just in Caesar's Palace. I mean, Caesar's Palace, I really don't think is the right place for WrestleMania because even when you look at the look like at the arena that for Caesar's Palace that WrestleMania 9 was in, it just really doesn't look that big. It just kind of just looks like it's just like a small little arena for like probably a few thousand people to come in. It's not like when they were like in places like the Pontiac Silverdome or the Hoosier Dome or the Sky Dome or places like that where it actually does look really huge. It really looks like pretty small in here. I'm not actually sure or like how many people could actually fit inside of that uh, arena for Caesar's Palace. But yeah, it just really doesn't look really that big. So yeah, that's probably another thing about it for WrestleMania. Just not really a good place to host it. So yeah, all right. So number 5 is WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace. All right. At number 4 is the Stars and Stripes challenge that the WWF had on the 4th of July 1993 that was just right off of the USS Intrepid. So, yeah, I'm sure that a lot of you really know about this event. This was the event where, like, Lex Luger's American Hero gimmick started when he, like, body slammed Yokozuna. Yeah. And just this event, like, I don't think that this event was actually televised. Just highlights of this were shown on Raw the following night. So, yeah. But, yeah, this just really didn't look good either. This was also in sunny daylight, and just seeing it just take place right off the USS Intrepid, it just really didn't look good at all. I mean, I think that was pretty silly, just having it take place right off of a ship or a boat or whatever, yeah. And then, yeah, with, like, Lex Luger coming down in a helicopter, like, what? Yeah, so, yeah, it sounds stupid, and, yeah, it really didn't look good either. So, yeah, I think I've gone on enough about, like, just events that do take place outside in daylight. So, yeah. Yeah, but, yeah, this one just, yeah, it looked really silly and dumb, and, yeah, just, yeah, not really the right place to host an event like this. So yeah, all right. So number 4 is the Stars and Stripes challenge on the 4th of July 1993 on the USS Intrepid. All right. At number 3 is Bash at the Beach 1995. So, and yeah, this event actually it was literally on the beach. Yeah, I mean, yeah, first, like, it's in sunny daylight once again, but yeah, it is actually on the beach. I mean, are you serious? Like, how silly does that sound? I mean, yeah, the WCW, like, did give, like, the Bash at the Beach, like, a beach type of setup. Like, if you, like, see the Bash at the Beach events, like, the entranceway, like, it has, like, a, beach style setup, like with sand and like shovels and pails and beach balls and stuff. But yeah, it actually took place literally on the beach in 1995. I mean, seriously, I mean, how silly does that sound? And yeah, you can watch the event and yeah, you actually see like beachers and stuff like watching the event and stuff. And you know, seriously, how silly is this concept? Yeah, I mean, WCW like taking it literally on the beach. I mean, need I say more? So yeah, I think that just speaks for itself. I mean, having it actually take place on the beach. I mean, yeah, I mean, does that even sound even remotely serious? I mean, yeah, come on. Okay, so yeah, I think just hearing that like take place on the beach, that speaks for itself. So I really don't think I need to say anything else about it. All right, so number three is Bash at the Beach 1995 that took place on the beach, literally. All right. All right. At number two is the WWF Shotgun Saturday Night events. Yeah, just like yeah, I'm just not really talking about like one in particular, just Shotgun Saturday Night in general. Yeah, Shotgun Saturday Night like was like very short lived for the WWF in like 1997, and yeah, these events like just took place in like nightclubs throughout New York City. Like they had it in places like Mirage nightclub and just like other like clubs around New York City, and of course like they also like had it at Penn Station. And yeah, this just looked especially silly. I mean, yeah, you just have like a bunch of people like come in, and like it's not an arena, of course. Like it's actually in like nightclubs and train stations and stuff. Like, seriously, how silly is that? I mean, yeah, like Shotgun Saturday Night, like these were also like talked about in like the WWE OMG Moments DVD. Yeah, like this was like one of the OMG moments on the DVD, just like Shotgun Saturday Night, like taking place in a bunch of nightclubs. Like, how silly is that? And you just have like all those people like around. I mean, how are they able to get a wrestling arena in there and well, a wrestling ring in there? And like, where were the wrestlers even coming from? I guess like this is something else I'm talking about. Like another case, like when like at Bash at the Beach 1995. Like, where was the locker room for that? Like, where were the wrestlers even going to get ready and stuff if it was actually on the beach? And yeah, that's the case here too. Like, where were the wrestlers even going? Like inside nightclubs and train stations and stuff to get ready? Like, where were their locker rooms and stuff? Like, what were they even? Where were they even going when it wasn't their time for on the event? So yeah, and yeah, of course, like what people really do know about from Shotgun Saturday Night is the event at Penn Station when Undertaker was facing Triple H and Undertaker like tombstone Triple H on escalators. So yeah, yeah, so yeah, that just seemed like really silly as well. Just like having them fight around the stations and stuff, and like on escalators and all that other stuff. So yeah, I mean, just yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it's not really hard to see why Shotgun Saturday Night was so short-lived due to this concept. So, yeah, I think that really just speaks for itself as well. So, yeah, and I don't know if like WWE will ever actually like put episodes of Shotgun Saturday Night up on the WWE network. They're not there as of right now, and I don't think they ever put them up. So, yeah, uh, I mean, will they ever put them up for people to see? I mean, who knows? But yeah, it was a very silly concept. So yeah, number two is the Shotgun Saturday Night events, right? And at number one, what I think the strangest wrestling venue is the WCW Hog Wild / Road Wild events that took place from like 1996 to 1999, which were just at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota. So, yeah, this one I just feel is just especially strange and weird because, yeah, the way this whole thing just started was just because Eric Bischoff was a fan of motorcycles, so he just used that as an excuse to go to Sturgis and have a wrestling event take place there. And these events were just straight up weird, like seriously, because for one thing, like the crowds for these events, they weren't actual wrestling fans; they were just like bikers there to just like stop and attend the events. Like there were no actual like ticket sales for these events. Like people just could pull up and just watch the events. And yeah, and even when you actually do like watch these events, like all of these events are on the network, and you can just see like the crowds really don't really care about these shows. Like they're just like booing people, and yeah, they were just like booing the all the wrestlers and stuff. Like the crowds really were not really caring about this. Yeah, it just is weird. Like, why are you having a wrestling event in front of like a bunch of people that aren't even wrestling fans? Like, this event isn't even meant for them. Like, these are bikers; they're not wrestling fans. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there were probably like a fair share of wrestling fans at these events, but yeah, still like it's mostly just bikers. So yeah, so I don't know what WCW is really thinking. I mean, Eric Bischoff really just used his motorcycle fan excuse to have these events go on. So yeah, and yeah, just yeah, like I said, just the people who at these events really didn't care about them. Like they weren't cheering; they were like pretty dead throughout. They were just booing the people. Like and Hog Wild 1996 in particular is the one where the crowd really didn't care and were booing people because, yeah, there was like the Chris Benoit Dean Malenko match from that event, and the match was like going on like pretty long, and the crowd was starting to boo Benoit and Malenko even though like they weren't doing bad. And yeah, they were also like booing Harlem Heat just because the crowd was racist. Yeah, just like some really horrible crowds for these events, and yeah, just yeah, don't have like events like these take place like in front of like people who aren't even wrestling fans. Like this is just like a pretty big waste of time. And once again, just like I was saying, like where were the wrestlers even going like for a locker room area? Because I mean these events literally were just like on dirt. So yeah, where were they even going for locker rooms and stuff? So yeah, and yeah, just I feel like these events in particular were just straight up weird, just because of like like they're not wrestling fans. It's just like in the middle of the dirt and like a desert. Just yeah, it's just like just the conditions for these were bizarre. The crowd just was not a good choice, and yeah, just having these events just because Eric Bischoff is a fan of motorcycles, just yeah, pretty pathetic reason to have these events. So yeah, just I feel that these events are just like the strangest choices and strangest venues for wrestling events ever. So yeah, all right, so number one is the WCW Hog Wild / Road Wild events in Sturgis, South Dakota. All right, and so yeah, there you go. Those are my picks for the top 10 strangest venues used in wrestling history. So yeah, and like I said, if there are like any other bizarre locations that have hosted wrestling events before, you can comment on my channel and tell me what you think some of the other strangest wrestling venues have been over the years. All right, just let me know what you think some of them are if I didn't mention them in this video. All right, but yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about this. So I hope you guys did enjoy this list. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.